What's up, everybody? Sorry, that was really stupid. This is for my video assignment for education law. I thought it'd be funny if I did it like a YouTube video where I talk about hitting the like button, subscribing, leaving a comment, whatever else. It really helps my stats or something or another. Um, but I want to make sure I actually get into the content since I only have about 5 to 8 minutes to actually go over this. First and foremost, thank you to everybody who left like really nice comments. I really appreciate it. I wanted to, answer at least a couple questions on it before I move on to the actual content here. Um, so the first one was because I enjoyed your heated questions. Thoughts on the swimmer Leah Thompson, who was assigned male at birth, transitioned in college. Leah Thompson, for anybody who doesn't know, is someone who was very, very good at swimming as a male, won a lot of things under male swimming, then transitioned to female and continued to win things. Um, the distinction here is that swimming is not a contact sport, so certain rules and regulations don't actually apply as a result. So I will touch on that in a second, and I will compare and contrast that with one of my sources, which is the Texas student. I'll have the links. I'll put the links in the comments below because that's what YouTubers do, right? Check out those links at the bottom, guys. And then the second one was uh, the discussion about trans students fall when it comes for sex ed in terms of where they should be if genders are separated. So in elementary school for me, fifth grade, they did separate based on sex the boys and the girls for the purposes of teaching the students about like puberty and sexual organs in general. There is a very key distinction between sex and gender, right? Sex is kind of the parts you're born with. It's the genetic makeup. Women have XX chromosomes, men have XY chromosomes. It's just, it's what you got. Whereas gender and gender identity is going to be based more so on your thoughts and feelings, how your body or how your mind aligns with what your ideals are. It's going to be something that's more for your comfort, quality life, well-being. Um, I think that it's important for everybody to learn what their individual parts and bodies do and what the opposite sex's parts and bodies do. So when I was in fifth grade, they did separate it. So the first week it was all talking about women's puberty and things of that nature, and then the second week they switched, so the women got to learn about like the men's puberty and everything, which I think is important. So even if it's separated in that aspect, because they're teaching both, it makes the most sense that it's okay to have it separated in that capacity. That said, I think that if someone was transitioning, say, male to female, I think it's because they're teaching both. I don't think it would be an issue to have the transitioning student in the female group while discussing it, right? Especially in today's age where everybody's a lot more accepting and it's a spot for education, right? It's not any sort of political debate. The root issue is how can we teach the students as a whole about their bodies and the opposite sex bodies, right? And it doesn't really matter the gender aspect of it because it's purely based on sex. Moving on to the two articles. Here's the links. Again, I will post them below. Actually, I used 3 links, but I'll just use these 2. I can probably pull the third. My reaction paper. Nobody look at that. Nobody look at that. Prepared this better. All right, here's my 3 links. I picked 3 because, well, I have 4 total in my thing, but one of them is just a lot more specific to it. So first and foremost, I said I'd talk about Texas. This man here was born biologically female, started transitioning, taking testosterone in 2015, and then in 2017 they won a 12-2 victory against Chelsea Sanchez. This person, this man, Beggs, the last name, Mac Beggs, wanted to compete in men's wrestling. However, the state of Texas stated that because Beggs was born biologically female, he had to compete in women's wrestling, which is not really that fair, right? Um, Testosterone is essentially the same as steroids, right? We see what steroids did with like Barry Bonds, for example, where just the raw makeup of what testosterone does is it increases muscle mass, it helps people develop muscles easier, and it also does things like when your muscles get larger, you actually gain height and things like that. So it gave this person this crazy advantage over other women. And he didn't want to do that. He wanted to compete in men's sports because he's a guy, right? But he was forced to compete in women's based on his biological sex, not his gender identity. And the state of Texas was not taking into consideration, the huge, huge discrepancy. Like a 12-2, everybody is misgendering him now, saying that it's unfair that that he just beat up on all these girls, but he didn't have a choice. For him to compete in the sport that he wanted to compete in, the state forced him to compete in a league that's at a clear disadvantage, in a lose-lose situation, where if he wins, people think that he's cheating and proceed to misgender, and if he loses, then he just loses. Like, that sucks. He loses at the sport, but he can't like throw the sport either, because that's not fair to competition. The other case, moving to California, um, the short of it is in Mendez, um, the Chico, I believe it was. There was a student who was socially transitioning, meaning that they weren't taking anything. She transitioning to he was just experimenting with using he/him pronouns, and potentially a different name that aligns more with their gender, or at least what they were wanting to do. The school ultimately withheld that information from the parents, creating a sanctuary. A lot of people who come out they have a lot of hard time with their parents discussing that nature. And it often leads to pushing it back or causing extra harm mentally or physically to them. So ultimately, California found that the schools are a sanctuary for students to experiment on that side of it. I have 5 seconds left, so thank you so much. Don't forget to smash that bell, hit the like, and subscribe. Bye.